What is up, guys? Zach here from the Chaos Galaxy, and today I'm going to be starting a new series called Trading Card Stories, where I'll be taking a look at cards that are currently in the Chaos Galaxy. And if you know anything about me, you'll know that I've been making trading card games since I was about 10 years old. And a lot of the cards that are currently in the Chaos Galaxy started out as these little doodles that I made when I was about 10 years old. So this series is going to be looking at these characters and the evolution of them and all the steps and designs that they had in between these first drawings and the current cards. And I think it's going to be quite cool to see and hopefully quite inspiring. I get a lot of comments like, oh, I want to make a card game, but my art skills are just so bad I'll never be able to get anywhere near the level that I want to be. And if you kind of look at these drawings that I've done, I started out like this and have managed to make a fairly successful game out of it. So hopefully you can get a bit of inspiration from this. And yeah, almost a lot of the cards, especially in set 1 and 2 in the Chaos Galaxy, are based on these cards that I made when I was about 10 years old. So I've got tons of them to show you, whole archetypes in fact. And it's definitely going to need multiple episodes, this series, but I think I'll just start with set 1. Because I've got all these cards, I think the best way to just go is I'll start with Manflacky, like the first card in set 1, and then just work my way through to like the current state of the game. So, so yeah, card number 1 for the Chaos Galaxy, Manflacky here. So I'll put him at the end of the timeline, and then starting with his first rendition was Little Dudes Season 2, I think. So I have a. If you haven't seen my old TCG series, I have a series where I go through these entire games in one full episode. So this was the first. A lot of them started out with Little Dudes, which was my first card game. Really simple game. And Manflacky, the first rendition of him, starts there. Then on to Little Dudes Season 2, which is a kind of more complex version, and actually probably the version that's most similar to the current Manflacky. So he can go there in the timeline. Then there was Evolvers. I don't like this version of Manflacky, to be honest. I think this Little Dudes version is probably my favourite in the timeline. And then we had the Chaos Galaxy sort of prototype, Chaos Galaxy Season 0, which the Manflacky's, that is the Manflacky of today pretty much. I guess the main difference is the laser in his mouth. But that is the timeline of Manflacky. So yeah, obviously he's not like my proudest card. I do love him. He's card number 1 in the game, but you know, not the most impressive artwork, but still has come quite a long way since my gel pen Manflacky of age 10. So yeah, this is about age 10. That's about age 13. That's age 14. This one is age 17, prototype Chaos Galaxy, and then age 18 was when I drew the current Manflacky. So he's card number 1 in the game, and he's got a nice timeline. Card number 2 in the game, Humongous Ancient Rockman, a more impressive card, one of my favourites, and the cover card of set 1. So we'll put him there, and he was actually only in 2 of my old trading card games. He started off in Elementals Season 2 as Big Old Rock Warrior. I think I prefer his current name. And then he was only in one other TCG, same as Manflacky, though he was in this season of Little Dudes. I think this was Season 4 of Little Dudes. But he was again called Big Old Rock Warrior. And you can see the resemblance, although not as much as Manflacky. So that's the timeline of Humongous Ancient Rockman. Card number 3 in set 1 is Demented Chicken Guy, and he's had a slightly different story to the other guys. So he started out as just a demented chicken, as in Mini Menaces, which I made, I think, aged about 11 or 12. I mean, any demented chicken card is a fan favourite, so I decided to turn him into Evil Chicken Man in Elementals when I was like 13. And I love the flavour text in some of these, it's so weird. Once an evil farmer, he was hypnotised by his chickens, who are actually evil chicken aliens. He now thinks that he is a chicken, and that is where Demented Chicken Guy stands today. Okay, we've then got Orbov, who was actually introduced to my card games a lot later than the first 3. So the first version we have of Orbov is in Evolvers TCG, which was one of the first ones I did on the computer, way after these like fully hand-done TCGs. So he started off there. The only other version of him, it was in the prototype Chaos Galaxy version I made like a year before the current version, and obviously the designs are pretty similar. The new orbov is my favourite probably, and they actually have really similar abilities. You can pause and read if you want, so that's I like that I've done that with orbov, but I think the evolvers version is very cute. Not a big fan of this one, but a big fan of the current orbov. Okay, then we have a card with a really big timeline. I think Hoblog, card number 5 in set 1, has been in more TCGs than any other card in the game. So his timeline's going to end there. And he starts off in Season 1 of Little Dudes with just a, super simple drawing. What can I say? It's a log with legs. So that starts there. Then in the next season of Little Dudes, my artwork definitely stepped up a fair bit. Got some of like the wood texture, some leaves coming off it, a lot more detail there. Then into Elementals, Season 2, very similar design, but a few more colours going on really. Then Evolvers got a bit creative with the pose he's in there, flying in from the side, and this is obviously more of the Hoblog you see today. We've got Hoblog from the Chaos Galaxy prototype. Really not a fan of this one, to be honest. I actually think these two versions of him are my favourite so far. And then, we run out of screen. So that's the Chaos Galaxy prototype. And then this isn't the most recent version of Hoblog. This Hoblog was made at the start of the Chaos Galaxy, and this is probably my favourite version. But then after I drew this, before I started selling the Chaos Galaxy, I made a prototype game to sell called Little Dudes Legends, where I sort of went back to the original version of Hoblog and sort of modernised that with the strange perspective and simple legs. So that's really interesting to compare to this drawing, which I did around the same time. But there's sort of the Hoblog timeline has kind of split into two timelines, I guess. So there's the Chaos Galaxy Hoblog and then the Little Dudes Hoblog, which are kind of different. So that's a really interesting one, I think. But it is all the same Hoblog. Then card number 6 in the Chaos Galaxy is Zuzu, which started off as an Elemental Season 2, which is called Storm Dragon. A lot more boring than the name Zuzu. But this was probably the biggest game I've made apart from Chaos Galaxy. A lot of the cards you will see in Chaos Galaxy originate there. And also because the elements kind of match up to the planets, a lot of the cards just naturally follow through. But let's read that crazy flavor text. Just one flap of this flying beast's wings causes enemies to go flying. It causes gale force winds. A lot of use of the word flying and wings. So that's the first one. Then in Little Dudes, he changed his name to Zuzu. More of a sort of goofy Little Dudes-esque name than the realistic names of Elementals. Then when I started making cards on the computer, it became Zuzu again in Evolvers. And then I actually went back to hand-drawn for a bit. I made a game that was really small. I think there's only about 30 cards in it, so you won't see it pop up in these videos very often. But you came back as Storm Dragon as a shiny in Chaos Heroes. And then in the prototype Chaos Galaxy, he was exactly the same stats and everything as he is in the current Chaos Galaxy. Out of the versions I really like the Little Dudes Season 2 version and the current version. But he's, again, the design of him has literally just pretty much been the same throughout. Okay, then card number 7, ThousandEyed Fish. This is another one. I actually really like the design of this in Chaos Galaxy, but this has had a lot of renditions. So starting off in Mini Menaces, starting off as like an evil piranha looking fish. Pretty similar design in Elementals Season 2. Then onto another TCG that I've not shown yet. This was in the first Chaos Galaxy that only had 3 planets. Chaos Galaxy Season 1, really. We're on Season 3 now, I guess. That was Kaznikan ThousandEyed Fish, because the water planet in that game was called Crunchon. Then in Chaos Heroes, still pretty much the same design, as well as in this was Elementals Season 4, I believe. And then the prototype Chaos Galaxy version became a bit more of a peaceful fish, and then it changed quite a lot again in the current Chaos Galaxy. So that's quite good. Oh, I've missed off the flavour text. A fish with lightning-fast reflexes and eyes all over its body. It is able to dodge almost any attack. And the flavour text pretty much been the same all the way through those. So yeah, another one with, 7 different versions throughout history? Cool, but I think my favourite... I actually think I prefer the prototype Chaos Galaxy version to the current one, but they're probably my two favourites. Next we've got... Oh, we got a classic here. Bob 2699 is the current version. Started off as a little dude. Well, actually, Bob 2699 started off as my first RuneScape username that became a little dude. He also has his cousin Bob 2688, which we are yet to see in the Chaos Galaxy. It was then in Mini Menaces, then in Little Dudes, and then straight just to Chaos Galaxy, which is where he got his top hat. He kind of looks like a Tamagotchi in this one. I think there must have been some sort of subconscious link to Tamagotchis, because I made this when I was like 10, which was around the same time as me playing with a Tamagotchi. Then's an interesting one, Transponge, definitely a key card, definitely like a core card in the Chaos Galaxy. But it's actually only been in one TCG I've made before this. It was Transponge in Little Dudes Season 2. But he actually had a whole archetype to himself, so it's an interesting timeline. You got Transponge, he had 160 score, and then there's Transponger with 260, Transpongertron with 360, Transponginator with 460, and then Super Transponginator with 560, which are obviously a lot more advanced than the first Transponge, but I kind of honoured this in the Polysium starter deck where I made an Elite Transponge, which was sort of based on all these upgrades, although they ended up looking very different, and I definitely prefer the newer Transponge. One of my favourite cards, actually. Okay, the next card in set 1 of the Chaos Galaxy, card number 10, is Blarg. Which, unfortunately, this is the only copy of Blarg. He's the first original card in the Chaos Galaxy, and definitely one of my least favourites. He's a very weird-looking guy. But after Blarg, we're going straight back to the absolute icons of the game, with Crunchon, the strongest card in the game in set 1. And his timeline starts with... I actually never know which game came first. I think Little Dudes Season 2 came before Elementals Season 2. So we've got the Little Dudes Crunchon, which was one of my favourite cards right from the off, because you can see by the score I've given it, it's super strong. Just absolutely loved it from the start. And its design has changed very little through Elementals Season 2, and then Elementals Season 4, in which he was again like a shiny and a huge sea serpent with powerful jaws that can crush diamonds with ease. So they're the 4 versions of Crunchon. But it's actually interesting to see that now even the Chaos Galaxy version has been updated into the Chaos Beast Crunchon Polysium, which is sort of the only different version of Crunchon that's not this sort of side profile of him roaring. And it's quite different, but so I don't know if I'd put this in the timeline, but still pretty cool. The next one we have is Trekatrenk, which... He's kind of had a lot of renditions throughout games, but he's just like a generic living tree. I feel like every trading card game has like some kind of living tree character. So there's Truntle in Evolvers Season 2. These huge trees guard the entrances to most forests. They crush any unwelcome visitors. There was then the next season of Elementals with Trank, which then became Trekatrenk. And then Truntle reverted back in Evolvers, and this Truntle is probably the most similar version to Trekatrenk now. So there he is. The next one... Oh my gosh, this video is getting long. I think I'll do one more card and then call it a day here. Obviously, this series is going to be limited because I can't make any new old cards to sort of back up these. But I've still got so many more HTCG stuff to show you. The next one we have is Tonex, who started off as a little dude. And I just love the concept. I remember just doodling weird shapes, and then it ended up like, oh, what if I put a face in the middle of them? And that's how Tonex came to be in Little Dude Season 2. Here he is in Evolvers as well. I don't know why I gave him a smiley face on his t-shirt, but it's stuck in the current version in the Chaos Galaxy. And yeah, I really like Tonex as a card. Very, very cool. So guys, that was episode 1 of Trading Card Stories. Let me know what you think of this series. It's something very new. I'm glad to be starting a new series because it's not something I do much anymore now. The channel's got quite a few different ones on it. But yeah, let me know if you'd like to see more of this. I love showing these off. It's so nostalgic for me going back through these old games and seeing how far they've come, and hopefully it's motivating for you guys making trading cards at home. And it's just interesting. But thanks for watching. Let me know which of your favourite cards you see in this video. I do like the evolution of Demented Chicken becoming Demented Chicken Guy, but I also think the timeline of Hoblog is really interesting. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to get your hands on any of the new versions of Chaos Galaxy cards that you've seen in this video, there'll be a link to the online store in the description. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.